Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm John.
And we're here with PetroleumServiceCompany.com, and today we are going to be changing the oil in a classic American muscle car.
That's right, Joe. Today we have a 1967 Mustang Coupe. This car has a 289 V8 in it, which is the Ford small block high performance engine. For that reason, I went with the Kendall GT1 high performance 20W50 engine oil because it has a higher zinc package in it. We want that higher zinc package because this engine needs the extra protection. It needs that higher zinc level for, it gives it more anti-wear properties.
Okay.
So that's why we went with it. So we already have our oil, we have our filter, and we're ready to rock and roll.
All right, so I imagine we're going to need additional parts to complete this project?
We are. As we mentioned, along with that oil filter, you're going to need either a good set of sockets or an open-end box wrench. Then we're going to also need an oil filter wrench, a specialty wrench for removing the filter. And we'll also need our oil catch can.
All right, so let's pop this hood, see what we got. Oh, good Lord, Hank Ford, what on earth we got here? I can name maybe one part here, so what are we looking at?
Well, the good thing is we're only really at the top here, we're only looking at two. We're going to be paying attention, the right side of the motor. Over in here, this nice shiny chrome thing is your oil fill cap.
Nice.
We'll be removing that to add the oil back into the car once we drain it. So that is where the oil fill cap is located. I'm going to put it back in so we don't get any contaminants. Nice little tip when you're draining out the oil, remove that cap because it'll speed it up. It'll allow air to push behind the oil and allows it to drain faster.
Science.
And then you see that big white cylinder down here, Joe?
Yep.
That is our oil filter. This case, it's easy to work on. You can get to it from the top of the car. You don't have to go underneath the car to remove this oil filter, but we're gonna be down underneath it later on anyway because we have to drain the oil out.
Right.
And while I'm down there, I already have the oil catch can in place. I like to just remove everything while I'm right there. I can set everything up.
All right, cool.
So our next move, I'm gonna show you where this oil drain plug is.
Sounds good. All right, so now we're under the car here, and what are we looking for?
What you wanna do is identify your oil drain pan, and in this case, it's the blue oil drain pan. Located on that, you'll see a slight slope in it. There's going to be the oil drain plug. Now today we don't have to mess with a plug, we don't get any wrenches or anything because we actually have a quick release petcock valve. It makes life a lot easier, and we'll just go ahead and release that oil and the oil's coming out.
Oh, great, and that's not a typical thing, that's a...
It's not. Now these aren't typical, it's an add-on part. It just makes life a lot easier. If you're going to change your oil a lot on your own, it's a great investment, just makes things quicker.
All right, so I guess the next step will be removing that oil filter.
Correct. Why don't you go ahead and grab that filter wrench, Joe?
All right, and I'll just start loosening it up a little bit here.
All right, just give a little tug on there. It's basically a band style filter wrench, so as you pull on the handle, that band's going to tighten up around the filter and put some tension on it and allow it to loosen up. So once you get it loose, you should be able to get up in there with your hand and just go ahead and spin it off by hand.
All right, yep.
Got it. Just be careful because the oil, when it comes out, if your car was just running, it could be hot and you don't want to get burned. Now when we go ahead to reinstall our filter, what I like to do is get some fresh oil and I'll dip my finger in it and we're going to go ahead and rub it right on the gasket of that filter.
Hey, all right, keep it PG here.
But that'll make a nice tight seal when the motor warms up. That will react with that gasket, and when we reinstall it, we won't have any leaks, or we shouldn't have any leaks. So we'll go ahead. Joe, you want to reinstall that?
All right, great. And as you mentioned before, try not to cross thread it here.
Correct. Yeah, there's a little nipple up in there. You'll see it lines up on the center of your filter. So once you feel the threads grabbed, you can go ahead and spin it free by hand, and it should tighten up. And in this case, you do not need the filter wrench when you put this back on. You just want to hand tighten it, get it as tight as you can with your hand. Because if you tighten it up too much, you're going to have a heck of a time getting it off when you change your oil the next time.
Right, and the heat from running the car should seal it back up?
Correct. That's why we put the oil on there.
All right, sounds good. That wasn't so bad.
Nice, I didn't think so.
My hands are filthy though.
Yeah, hands are pretty dirty though. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add in our new fresh oil to the car.
All right.
What I need to do is go ahead and remove the oil fill cap. And Joe, if you can, hand me that oil funnel.
All right, gotcha. Yeah, I guess this is probably the easiest, but most important step.
Absolutely. This is our primary goal right here. So we've got our 6 quarts of oil in. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our oil fill cap. Everything on. You might want to wipe some of the excess oil if you spilled any. If you get some on the exhaust headers or manifold, don't be alarmed if you see a little bit of smoke. It'll cook off. Might smell for a little bit, but you should be good. Next step, we are going to start the car up, let the engine oil pump a little bit. We'll then go ahead, shut it off, and double check the dipstick to make sure we got the proper amount of oil in the car. Again, we've added 6 quarts of the Kendall GT1 High Performance 2050. So we're just going to go ahead and pull the dipstick, make sure we've added enough. It's within the threshold that the OEM recommends. There's going to be a little crosshatch in here that's going to say it's safe. For the first take, we're going to want to wipe it off, slide it in, because when the engine's running, it tends to slosh around. It'll give you a false reading. We pull it out, and if we are in the safe zone, which it looks like we are, we'll be in good shape. So we have successfully changed the oil in the 1967 Mustang. There's nothing left to do now but get out there and enjoy it.